Hi there, this is Jess Clark. This is week 6. This is my lesson plan for partner reading. My objective is that students will be able to increase their accuracy and rate in reading text. The prerequisites that students should have before they're able to complete this activity is that they should have at least some experience or some exposure with timed repeated readings before this. Ideally, this would be for second grade and above, and I would use this in a whole group setting, but then obviously it would break down into partners after that. So it would be used in both of those, but the entire lesson as a whole would be first used with whole class, and then at the end they would break off into partners. For the whole thing, meaning the whole class lesson and the partner activity, that would probably take about 45 minutes. In here, I'm only going to be doing the whole group activity just because I don't have any students that will actually be here doing their partner work. So after I do the whole group, they would just break into small groups in their partners that I assign them. Good morning, students. As we've been talking about, we've been learning how to become strong readers. And to be a strong reader, you must be able to read accurately, quickly, and with good expression, right? You must also pay closer attention to the meaning of the text. So even though you're reading quickly and you're reading accurately and you have good expression, you need to understand what the text is meaning and what the bigger picture is behind that. So today we're going to be practicing our fluency with a partner who's going to help you monitor your reading, help you figure out tough words, and give you feedback. So rather than me doing that for you guys are going to be doing it to each other. So during this partner reading, you're either going to be the first reader or the second reader. And I'm going to assign those in a little bit, so we're not going to choose. When you're not reading, you guys will have different jobs. You're going to be the coach. So if you are the reader, then your job is to read accurately, quickly, and with good expression like we just talked about. If you're the coach, it's your job to listen for their mistakes. So you're going to be like the teacher there. You're going to help them with their tough words, and you're going to give them feedback on how they're doing. And we're giving that feedback because we need to help each other become better readers, right? And so when we do that and we give this constructive criticism, I'm sure you guys have heard that phrase before, that means that we're helping people become better readers and better students, okay? So the first readers, they're going to be reading a couple of paragraphs. Well, in the book that you guys are going to be getting at the end of this, you guys are going to alternate paragraphs. So somebody's going to be reading the first one, the next person will read the second one, and then so on. But I'll explain that later after we're done with this activity. First, I want you guys to know who your partners are going to be. I've got it written up here on the board, so pay attention. And on this one side right here, the ones with the number 1, you guys are going to be the first partner. So you'll be the reader first. Those of you with the number 2 or under the number 2 category, you guys are going to be the coaches first. So we have Brian with Tracy, Jason with Opie, Amy and Joanne, Joe and Nisa, Adam and Jennifer, Chris and Jamie, Brad and Melissa, Chuck and Tammy, Dennis and Beth, and then Eric and Gail. So those are your partners, and we're not going to move with them right now. We'll do that in a little bit. But like I said, if your name is under the partner 1, you're going to be the readers first. If your name is under the partner 2, you guys are going to be the coaches first. But we do have some expectations that I want to tell you guys before we even start this activity. These are the same expectations that we've had for any sort of partner activity, but we need to go over them again. So first, we're going to only talk to our partner when we're in this activity. You guys have your partners. Those are the only people you should be talking to. We're only going to be talking about what we're reading. We want to stay on task because if we're talking about everything else other than our reading, we're not going to become strong readers. So we need to focus on that one. We need to use low voice levels because you guys are all going to be reading at different times or at the same time but different books. It can get really confusing if we have a bunch of different people that are talking really loud. So we need to really remember to use our low voice levels. If you guys are having a disagreement and you guys can't come to a solution on your own, ask for help. Okay, that's another thing we really need to focus on. I don't want you guys to try and get frustrated by solving a problem. If you can't come to an agreement, ask me and I'll come help. We need to be respectful because we're going to have one of the partners doing coaching and they're going to be correcting some mistakes. They're just trying to help. So we need to be respectful and we don't need to be rude when we're offering our help, okay? and try your best. Even though we're with our partners and it might be with a good friend and you guys might be trying to talk about other things, we need to try our best and we need to focus again only on our reading because we are trying to become strong readers, okay? So again, we're not getting in our partners yet, but these are our partners that we're going to be using at the end. Okay, so when we read aloud, sometimes we make mistakes. Is it okay for us to make mistakes? Yeah, because we're human. We all make mistakes. Even myself as a teacher, I make mistakes every single day. But that's because I'm still learning and I can still learn new things. We don't know everything. It's a chance for us to learn when we make mistakes so we don't make them again, right? So coaches or the teachers, you're going to be responsible for catching these mistakes and respectfully correcting them. Remember our expectations. We need to be respectful when we are correcting them. So you all have copies of Marine Mammals, this copy right here. You guys have that passage at your tables, but we're going to use that one just before we get into our groups. And I want to show you the different types of mistakes that we can make because these are the types of mistakes that you guys are going to need to watch for as the coaches during this activity. So we have, like I said, we have 4 of these mistakes. The first kind of mistake is when the reader says a word incorrectly. So I'm going to read a sentence out of the passage. It's the very first sentence up here. Can everybody point to that? Good job. So I'm going to read this, and I want you to listen very, very closely to see if you can find the word that I'm saying incorrectly. Okay? Is everybody listening? Following along? Mammals are warm-blooded animals. Which word did I say incorrectly? Animals, right? Yep. I said animals. So what you might say is, stop. I think you said that incorrectly. The word is animals. Let's read that again. Mammals are warm-blooded animals. That's how you might say it when you're trying to correct somebody. Do we need to say it respectfully? Did Miss Clark say that respectfully when I was pretending to correct the reader? Okay, we're going to try it again, and I want you guys to be the coaches and I'll be the reader. So we're not going to correct me. We're not going to yell it out loud when I say the word incorrectly. I want you to respectfully raise your hand, and after I'm done reading, I'll ask you guys which word I said incorrectly. And you guys will tell me exactly how you would say it if you're working in your partners, okay? So follow along as I read the second sentence. Marine mammals, such as whales, live in the ocean. Which word did I say incorrectly? Ocean, you're right. So how would you correct me if I was your partner and you were the coach? How would you correct me? Yeah, you would say, stop, Miss Clark. You said ocean, but the word is ocean. Let's read that again. Marine mammals, such as whales, live in the ocean. Good job. So that's how we would respectfully correct our partners if they're saying a word incorrectly. Another kind of mistake is when the reader gets stuck on a word for more than 4 seconds. So follow along as I read the second sentence, and I want you to count in your head, not out loud, otherwise we might get confused, how long it takes me to figure out the word, okay? Marine mammals, such as whales, live in the ocean. How long did that take me? It took me more than 4 seconds, right? So if that's what happens in your group, then I want you guys to respectfully, again, say, stop, Miss Clark, that word is ocean. Let's go back and try that again. Marine mammals, such as whales, live in the ocean. Again, it was kind of similar to the first one. So you're just going to respectfully stop your partner and say, that word is whatever the word is, and then you'll have them reread it. Okay, we don't want to move on after not having reread it. We want to go back and we want them to reread it again, saying the word correctly. So then another mistake is when a reader skips over words. And I know when we're trying to read accurately, quickly, and with good expression, sometimes when we're reading quickly, we can easily skip over words. I know I've done it before. Like I said, I make mistakes all the time. And that's one thing that I always try and work on is reading slower, because I try and read fast to get it over with, and then I realize that I'm not understanding it. So I have to go back and read, and then I realize, oh man, I skipped a couple words. So I want you to follow along as I read the third sentence in this passage. Can everybody point to the third sentence? Good job. Okay, I want you to pay attention to which word I leave out. Unlike fish, marine mammals breathe underwater. Which word did I leave out? I left out cannot. Do you see how that could be confusing? Let's read it again. Unlike fish, marine mammals breathe underwater. Do marine mammals breathe underwater? No. So that could cause a lot of confusion. If you skip right over that word, you might get a completely different understanding of what is actually there. So, how would you correct me if I said that? Yep, you would say, stop, Miss Clark. You skipped a word. Let's read the sentence again. Unlike fish, marine mammals cannot breathe underwater. Does that make more sense? They cannot breathe underwater like fish, right? Okay. So the final error is when the reader adds extra words into the passage, or they use the word and they modify it a little bit and they add a completely different word in there. So follow along with me as I read the fifth sentence and listen for what word I add. Is everybody pointing to the fifth sentence? Okay. They can stay under the water for a long time. Which word did I add? You're right. Is the word the in there? Nope. It's not. So how would you correct me? You would say, stop, Miss Clark. You added a word. Read the sentence again. So follow along as I read it. They can stay under the water for a long time. Good job. Awesome. So I think you guys are ready to begin practicing with your partners. So you'll be reading the books or the passages that I'll be giving you paragraph by paragraph. But after each paragraph, you guys are going to switch roles. So if Brian is starting out and he is going to be reading, let's see which book Brian's going to be reading. Brian and Tracy will be reading Imaginary Fred. So if Brian is starting, he's going to be reading the first paragraph in Imaginary Fred. The second paragraph, however, Tracy will be reading. So when Brian's reading the first paragraph, Tracy's going to be the coach. When Brian is reading the when Tracy's reading the second paragraph, Brian's going to be the coach. And same thing for each of you guys. So the number ones over here, so Brian, Jason, Amy, Joe, Adam, Chris, Brad, Chuck, Dennis, and Eric, you guys are going to be reading first. Those of you in the number 2 category, so Tracy, Opie, Joanna, Nisa, Jennifer, Jamie, Melissa, Tammy, Beth, and Gail, you guys are going to be the coaches first. Then for the second paragraph, you guys are going to switch. Does that make sense? So you guys are going to do that. The entire book, you guys are going to be switching. Okay? And again, our partner expectations, I'm going to leave this up here so that way you guys can reference them. I don't want to have to come around and have to restate these to you guys, okay? You guys should know these. Okay, so here are the books that you guys are going to be reading. Come up and grab them once I say your name. Jason and Opie, you guys are reading The Mouse and the Motorcycle. Brian and Tracy, I already told you guys are reading Imaginary Fred. Amy and Joanne, you guys are going to be reading The Giving Tree. Here's your book. Joe and Nisa, you guys are going to be reading The Boy Who Ate Dog Biscuits. I know, it's kind of silly. Adam and Jennifer, you're going to be reading The Magic Finger. Chris and Jamie, you will be reading Chimpanzees. Brad and Melissa, you're going to be reading How Many Days to America. Chuck and Tammy, you will be reading The Biggest Snowball Fight. Dennis and Beth, you'll be reading There's a Hole in My Pocket. And then Eric and Gail, you guys will be reading Biscuit Goes to School. So make sure, everybody, we are switching after every paragraph. And when we are correcting, if we're the coaches and we're correcting our partners, make sure we're doing that respectfully, okay? And I will be wandering around if you guys need any help.